And Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back here to our lovely gathering in Shabbat. It's a new Shabbat. It's a new gathering. Thanks to Allah that He has given us the opportunity to be once again here all together to study His Word and to continue with the portions of the book of Ezekiel. We are so blessed to be once again with you, and we apologize for the last minute notice last week. But we were not feeling that well, Lillian and myself, in order to run this portion. And actually, we needed to have that Shabbat of rest. But here we are once again, thanks to Allah, in order to have and enjoy this time together in this set-apart day. And we welcome and we thanks all of you for joining us today in this portion. I see 11 of you connected, and that's a blessing to have brothers and sisters out there that are enjoying together with us this set-apart day. So thank you for your support, for your prayers, for being here, and especially for your love and for joining us today to enjoy this set-apart day. So, as I said, today we will continue. We are just in the last few chapters of this amazing book of Ezekiel. You know, we are in this chapter 40-something, that we see this amazing revelation that Ezekiel received from Allah regarding the temple, and we have been discussing in the last portions we did, how he received these measurements for the temple that we do believe is going to be the temple that is going to be established during the millennial kingdom of YaHuWaH here on earth. And it's my personal belief so far that that's going to be the temple that YaHuWaH is going to be leading the building of this temple, and most probably all of us, we are going to participate in that construction, and that's going to be an amazing, if my understanding is true, that's going to be an amazing timing that we are going to put our hands, our spirit, our heart in order to, under the guidance of the King of Kings, to begin the construction of this beautiful, huge, and amazing temple to YaHuWaH here on earth. And I think, and again, if my interpretation is true, that's going to be an amazing time together that as we see in many places in the scripture, we are going to forget all sadness, all depression, all tears, all tribulation, because all our hearts, all our focus, all our attention, and not only the attention, all our intention, the intention of our spirit is going to be put just in the task to follow the King of Kings that we are going to be able to see with our own physical eyes, and to the job, the amazing job of building this temple and also to serve YaHuWaH here on earth. I'm longing for that time, and most probably I do believe and I feel in my heart that all of you are also longing for that time that we are going to enjoy all together, not virtually. It's going to be face to face. It's going to be even better, enjoying that time with Mashiach. Amen?
Amen. Yeah, maybe not all of us are going to have maybe the construction skills or some things like that are needed, but I know that even with the desire in our hearts, we are going to provide also the energy that the builders need to do that amazing job. So, yeah.
Good. He's the one providing the wisdom and the skills and the capacity. It's just a matter and taking a moment and to study the word of YaHuWaH, and not only to study, we have been studying for so much time. It's just a matter to remember. And we have different places, especially, with the wisdom, the spirit of wisdom that YaHuWaH poured down on the people that built the tabernacle in the wilderness. It was he the one delivering and giving the wisdom and the skills to the people, and they were the one guiding the rest in the construction of all the set-apart items. I think last portion we discussed about the same, how he gave the wisdom to Noah to build the ark, how he gave the wisdom, to many other people, during the construction of the first temple, the construction of the second temple as well. He is going to be the one, once again, delivering the wisdom, because everything, all knowledge, all thoughts, all the wisdom and all the understanding and all the skills that we can have at any moment is belonging to him. And he's just giving us samples, sometimes samples to sample. If we have any talent, it's not because of us, it's because of him delivering that talent, using us as an instrument, and giving us that talent in order to produce his set apart music and to do everything he wants to do, right?
Yeah.
And the same is with art, any type of talent, that's why we need to be so grateful that sometimes we are able to learn something. The capacity to learn, the capacity to develop a skill is not because of us, it's because of him. And even if we want to learn a skill or if we want to acquire a talent, what we need to do is very simple.
Ask him.
We need to ask him. Yes. As what we were talking during lunch, I don't remember what it was. And you thought on that I spoke it out. The answer is prayer.
The answer is prayer.
What it was? I don't remember. You don't remember either,
No,
but you
I
remember the moment.
the moment, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
the answer is prayer. We need to ask YaHuWaH for prayer in the same way that the Shlomo was asking when he saw himself facing these amazing and great people of Israel, and he himself being a youth without experience at all, being sitting on the throne as the king of Israel, not having any experience, any skill, but he had the most important skill of all, is the fear of YaHuWaH in his heart. And by having the fear of YaHuWaH in his heart, he went to YaHuWaH to ask for wisdom. And he received more than wisdom. He received everything from the hand of YaHuWaH because he's the source of everything. And this is the only thing we need to remember day by day, is that since he is the source of everything and we are just instruments where he is going to manifest himself through us, we need just to go to him to ask him to use us in his hand as an instrument, a very talented and skilled instrument, because at the end, and an instrument that is going to be in tune and also prepared with the best of materials in order for him to produce his music and to use us in his hand. So remembering him all the time, remembering our identity and remembering that he shows us out of the world in order to be part of his set apart people.
Yeah.
Good. So, before we continue, just to ask all of you to remember not only the people we have here, our brothers and sisters that are joining time to time here in this gathering, in this ministry channel, Light to the Nations, that we need to keep all of them in our prayers, but we need to pray for the entire people of Israel, the entire Kehillah of Israel in this generation, in the four corners of the world. Even though that we don't know names, even though that we have not met people in person face to face, even though that sometimes even though we don't know the names and we just see the title and the name here in the chat, we need to pray for everybody. We are going through so many trials and tribulations and so on. Even the two of us, we have been going through very difficult times and very trials and many testing times in the last few weeks, that the only one that is supporting us is YaHuWaH himself, giving us the strength and in order to continue walking. And we need to recognize, because to all of us, depending on the trial that we are facing and depending on in the strength of our spirit, sometimes that this is producing a very heavy burden. And that's why the only way to continue, the only way to move ahead is by the prayers of the people of Israel, by the support of YaHuWaH. And for sure he is listening to the voices of his people. And that's why, in these times of tribulation and testing and trials and persecution, it's so important that we need to remember everyone, even though that we don't know them. We need to remember everyone and to pray for them, to pray for strength, to pray for the strengthening, for YaHuWaH strengthening our faith, and to pray for YaHuWaH to sustain us, even though that maybe we're facing strong winds and torment and even storms and tornadoes or big waves and tsunamis, for him to give us the strength in order to move ahead and to stand firm in the rock that is Mashiach. So don't forget to pray for this generation and to pray for that strength in order to endure until the end. Remembering always our true identity in him, and most importantly, to remember him always. And as a important servant of YaHuWaH used to say, is that we need to remember that he needs to be the number one in the list of one. And time to time we tend to forget, with all the craziness of the day-to-day and all the trials and persecutions we are facing, and we are entertain ourselves in the situations of the world, that we tend to forget him. And he needs to be, as I said, the number one in the list of one. He needs to be always present in our lives, even in our daily routines. He needs to be there. And the only way that he is going to be there is just remembering all the time, remembering that he is present in all places. He is outside of us, and also he is in our heart. He has put his set-apart spirit, his Ruach HaKodesh, dwelling within us. So just imagine that we are the temple of the Ruach of Elohim, and his Ruach is dwelling in us. It means that he is going with us everywhere we go. Even when we are going to sleep, he is with us. When we are waking up and getting up, he is with us. He is with us at all time. So it's just a matter for us to remember, wherever we are, whenever we are, or whatever we are doing, it's just to remember that he is with us. And in that moment, he is going to answer our prayers. He is going to guide us in everything we need to do with his Ruach HaKodesh. And we are going to be living a life where he's walking beside us. And to say it in the other way around, we are going to live a life that we are going to be walking beside him, because he is there. So don't forget, pray for one another. That's the most important thing we can do in these times. So as I said, today we are going to move ahead with the portion 149. Since we begin this new chapter, I think, in this new cycle of portions, and we are going to study the chapter 42 and 43 of the book of Ezekiel. And the title of this portion, we have decided to name it YaHuWaH Filled the House. And that should be the desire of our hearts, that if this is also the house of YaHuWaH, the desire of our hearts is that we should be filled with his presence and his kavod as well. Okay? Something to say before I move on?
All the time, that it doesn't matter if sometimes, I don't know, we feel maybe disconnected, we could feel maybe as isolated, but we are never alone. And as you were saying, if we remember him, we are going to have this moment of connection, a special connection with him. And it's the same among us, that maybe sometimes, I don't know, maybe you are feeling this, but I'm feeling lately that I don't know, years ago it was so important for me maybe to be pending on the phone, on the emails, and on the every tools that I have to be communicated. But recently I have been led somehow to disconnect from that, and always having the people that I love, including you, every one of you, even the one that I have been blessed knowing you personally, and those that I only know the names. And as you said, even people that I don't know them, but sometimes I have seen them in my dreams, or I have heard about a name that it was never maybe significant in my life, but I have a name maybe there. So every time that we are doing that kind of connection, we are doing like the same that we are doing with Ava. And he's going to help us, and it's like he's moving us to have that kind of connection, the spiritual connection, even among us. So it's so beautiful when I was thinking about someone, and somehow that person in some different way was thinking about me or was saying something. So it's a kind of confirmation. Every time that we are going to remember somebody is because it's a two-way communication, and we have to enjoy that. We don't have to be sad because of the things that were created in this earthly world. Maybe we are not using it in the regular way anymore. We don't have to be sad about that. We have to enjoy the capacities that our Abba has given us, and that we know that they're going to be the common language in his new creation. He's going to restore everything like that. And I'm so amazed when I was reading the other day the book of Jubilees, and it was saying that even we with the animals and everybody were having the same language, and it was so easy to communicate. And that is how we have to do it, is with our heart, with our mind, with our emotions, how we are feeling. And that is going to be the best communication. And I think that is what Abba wants from us also. That is not only I don't know, here in this moment that we are right now setting apart. I know that he appreciates it, but he wants us that our life, we can daily live it with him, minute by minute. And that is going to be even more beautiful, that we are living in his, under his shadow, under his roof, under his wings. Yeah.
Good word. Having said that, let's
Yeah.
move on. Let me share this song with you. And here we go.
כמה טוב עשתך, אדוני אליי. אלוהי אישי, אלוהי אישי. כמה טוב עשתך, אדוני אליי. אלוהי אישי, כי דרכיך גבוה מעל דרכיי, מחשבותיך מעל מחשבותיי. אני נכנע לרגליך, אדוני, לך אתן כל דבר בחיי. כמה טוב חסדך,
Let's close our eyes and let's pray. YaHuWaH Elohim Sabaoth, we want to give thanks to you in this moment because it's been the purpose of your heart to show us and to give us an opportunity to be part of your people and part of your covenant. We thank you, YaHuWaH, because in your love, your compassion, and the desire of your heart, you sent your son Yahushua to give his life for the forgiveness of sin of your people and also of the world. And by doing so, he himself became a door for each one of us. I want to open that door and to come in into your covenant and to your set-apart people. And in your compassion, your mercies, and your love, you have touched our hearts, and you have held our hands and guide us through that door, through Yahushua. And the only reason that we are here keeping your commandments in obedience to your covenant, because of you and everything you have done for each one of us. And with the intention, YaHuWaH, to show our love for you, is we are here keeping your Shabbat, doing all the efforts in our lives to be obedient to your covenant, doing all the efforts for YaHuWaH to remember you all the time, putting our eyes and our sight in Yahushua, who is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, our Melech and Savior, who is the one leading us in this way and in this narrow path, who is leading us in the true way of righteousness and Koeshah, whose destiny is your kingdom and everlasting life. We ask you, YaHuWaH, in this moment that despite the trials, problems we have to face, despite those experiences that sometimes are difficult to face, we ask you, YaHuWaH, that in your mercy and in your love, you can give your strength to these your people in the four corners of the earth, to this generation of Israel, which is alive in these last days, so we can endure until the end. It is written in your word, O YaHuWaH, that it's not by might, it's not by power, but it's through your Ruach Kodesh that we can win any battle. And sometimes, YaHuWaH, especially in the days that we are living, that battle is not all the time outside of us. It's inside, in our hearts, in our minds, and in our spirits. And the only way to fight that battle, O YaHuWaH, is with your strength and with your Ruach Kodesh. And that's why, YaHuWaH, in this moment, we ask you, YaHuWaH, with all the intention and the desire of our hearts, asking you, YaHuWaH, to listen to our voices. Listen to this prayer that we are lifting it up as an ascending offering before your throne, that you can pour it out in our hearts and in these temples, your Ruach HaKodesh, so your Ruach can dwell in us and be the guidance we need in these times. so we can be empowered with your might, with your wisdom, and with the fear to your name, and with your power, your mighty power, and your presence, in order to endure until the end, O YaHuWaH. Because even our physical diseases and our physical weaknesses are nothing before your power being demonstrated by your Ruach dwelling in us. And in this time, and in this moment, O YaHuWaH, this is exactly what you need, what we need, what this generation of your people need, is your presence and the manifestation of your Ruach in each one of us. And we ask you, Abba, in this moment, that even in this portion, as you always do, we ask you that you can speak to our hearts and you can speak to us and through us, so you can open our eyes, our ears, and our understanding to your word. So whatever you have prepared for us today, we can see it, but you can speak your words through our lips, and you can speak your words into our hearts. We thank you, YaHuWaH, for giving us once again the opportunity to be here, for the love you have deposited in each one of our hearts, because no matter the distance, no matter where we are in this world that belongs to you, we are one, we are Echad, through the love of Mashiach that you have put in each one of us. And we ask you, YaHuWaH, that love can grow, because even if we have to face the strong persecutions and big storms that are coming ahead, that love you have put in each one of us will give us the strength in order to continue being united and being Echad in you as just one body. Help us, Abba, to remember you all the time. Help us, YaHuWaH, to remember our true identity in you. Help us, YaHuWaH, to remember from where you have taken us out, and to remember the path you have established in front of us, and to remember that you are with us, that there's nothing to fear, because you are beside of us. We thank you, YaHuWaH, for your presence, and we invite you, our Elohim, to be among us, touch our hearts, and revive the spirit that you had set in each one of us, like a blazing flame that is burning all the time, but not consuming. Your presence in us. Thank you, YaHuWaH, for listening up our voices. Thank you because of so much opportunities you are giving us, and for your forgiveness, especially for your love. We lift up our voices in this moment to YaHuWaH with a humble heart, and we present our prayer before your throne as an ascending offering, as incense, with a desire, O YaHuWaH, that is going to be a good fragrance before you, so you can remember us as we remember you. Thank you, YaHuWaH, in the mighty name of your Son Yahushua, your Messiah, our King and Savior. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so let's begin. Ezekiel chapter 42 and 43. It says the following.
And he brought me out into the outer courtyard, the way toward the north, and he brought me into the room, which was opposite the separate place, and which was opposite the building to the north. Along the length, which was 100 cubits, was the north door. The width was 50 cubits. Opposite the inner courtyard of 20 cubits, and opposite the pavement of the outer courtyard, gallery against gallery in 3 levels. And before the rooms, toward the inside, was a walk 10 cubits wide, a way of 1 cubit, and their doors were to the north. And the upper rooms were shorter, because the galleries took away space from them more than from the lower and middle levels of the building. So somehow they were like that, and like that, and like that. So it was like a stairs.
Stir shape.
Yeah, stair shape. For they were in 3 levels and had no columns, like the columns in the courtyard. So the upper level was set back more than the lower and middle levels from the ground up. As for the outer wall by the side of the rooms, toward the outer courtyard facing the rooms, its length was 50 cubits. For the length of the rooms toward the outer courtyard was 50 cubits. And that facing the Hechal was 100 cubits. And below these rooms was the entrance of the east side, as one enters them from the outer courtyard. In the thickness of the wall of the courtyard toward the east, opposite the separate place and opposite the building, were rooms. And the way in front of them was like the appearance of the rooms which were toward the north, as long and as wide as the others. And all their exits and entrances were according to plan, and according to the doors of the room that were toward the south. There was a door in front of the way in front of the wall toward the east, as one enters them. And he said to me, the north rooms and the south rooms, which are opposite the separate place, are the set-apart rooms, where the priests who approach YaHuWaH eat the most set-apart offerings. There they place the most set-apart items, and the grains offering and the sin offerings, and the guilt offering, for the place is set apart. When the priests enter, they are not to go out of the set-apart room into the outer courtyard, but leave their garments in which they attend there, for they are set apart, and shall put on other garments, and shall draw near to that which is for the people. And when he had ended measuring the inner house, he brought me out through the gate that faces east, and measured it all around. He measured the east side with the measuring rod, 500 rods by the measuring rod all around. He measured the north side, 500 rods by the measuring rod all around. He measured the south side, 500 rods by the measuring rod. He turned round to the west side and measured 500 rods by the measuring rod. On the 4 sides he measured. It had a wall all around, 500 long and 500 wide, to separate the set-apart places from the common.
Interesting.
Yeah. Something that you want to comment on this?
Yeah, that I just noticed that in the version here on the eastward, they removed the word cubits that was written in the physical one, and it's good that they did it.
Yeah.
Because the word cubit is we just saw it in verse 20.
Yeah.
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because it's 500 rods, not 500 cubits, and
Yeah.
it's not there. But in the physical version,
in the one that we were reading
here,
before.
it appears cubits in italic.
Yeah.
And it's a wrong one because it's 500 rods, and each one of the rods, as we saw in the chapter 40th, a rod was 6 cubits. So we are talking about 3,000 cubits square.
Yeah.
So Lillian and I were making some measurements in an application, just looking in the place we live here in the city, just to have a visual idea of the size of the Setabar place. And it's a huge
Yeah.
place.
It's
It's
like
huge.
our whole neighborhood, something.
Yeah,
like.
we usually, the several days on the week that we go for a walk, and usually we walk all this. It's a kind of small city. It's not a 15-minute city,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it. But it's a small city. More businesses here than some apartment buildings, and it take us 1.5 hours
To walk.
to walk around sometimes, and we are not walking the entire place that we measured,
Yeah.
but
And we try to walk like in a fast, regular
yeah,
path.
it's not it's
Yeah.
not running, but
Yeah.
it's not walking slow.
Yeah.
It's a kind of middle pace, a little bit more. And so we did it in order to have an idea, and we were taking a look from the balcony, and it's such a big place. And I just was imagining myself looking into that big platform, and with the temple at the center. It's huge. And then now that you were reading, and I just I saw the comments from Karen about the north and south path and the rooms beside and the shape of the room. And you know what? The picture came to my mind, and I think this is somehow interesting in some way. It's like the shape of a stadium. Because it says that it has rooms in the north and in the south. It's not usually the stadiums are in a kind of a circular or oval shape. This case is a square one, but it's having some kind of galleries to the two sides. So if you just put the image in your mind, it's like seeing the galleries to the two sides. And actually the rooms, I guess, in order for the priest to be eating and setting the Setabar items over there, was like this height is 2.5 meters. So if it's 3 levels, we are talking about almost 7 meters high.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the height of the walls, but I guess the walls were higher than that. So if you look at it from the top down, it somehow is like the shape of a stadium. It's like and if we remember the shape of the altar, it's interesting because it's like being stairs like that and a stair in this way. So it looks like to Elohim he likes the geometry because everything is symmetrical.
Yeah. Somehow always like balance.
Yeah.
You're not going to have everything in one side and in the other nothing. So always it's like, and it's like nature. Even if you look in the chaos of the nature, you look and you can see a perfect balance.
And I saw just the comment from Taras. That came to my mind as well. Is that the Colosseum in Rome, and that's why for me it was interesting to look into that. Because we know that the Colosseum, what was the purpose? In order to deceive the people and to put the attention of the people on on those games instead of looking into the reality. All the games, all the sports that we see in our times, it's serving exactly the same purpose in order to distract the people from to cut their attention in something so banal that is nothing. So they are totally blind to the reality of what's going on. And this is happening in many other things in our lives that, the system of the beast and the system of the world is cutting our attention. So we are not able to see the reality of what's happening. As Karen says, distraction to create division. That's exactly what's happening. So, YaHuWaH somehow is showing this kind of similar shape, but for us to keep our attention, just put the parallel with the Colosseum, all the stadiums that, are putting the attention to the people of what's in the center, in the field. In this case, what's in the center? It's his temple, his house. And it's exactly there where we need to put our attention, is where his presence is dwelling. And if we compare to our body, with the symmetry, it's exactly the same thing, We see two legs, two arms, If we divide ourselves in two, it's basically we see the symmetry. It's the same way that we see the symmetry here on the temple.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it was mentioned. No, it's not yet about the. I think that maybe it was already mentioned about the width of the entrance of the gate, because it was one wall was. Just give me a second. One wall was measuring. Was measuring.
While you look for it, it's like, the system of the world trying to steal from YaHuWaH the designs and the shapes he has created, for a specific purpose. And we see this happening in so many, many ways, even in our lives. Sometimes we forget what is our purpose, what is our assignment, as I was looking and watching a video yesterday. And it's been totally changed in order to distract us and in order to make us forget what's the real assignment and what's the real purpose of the things that YaHuWaH has created in this world. And that's why the only way to be aware, to be awake of the reality and the truth is to, as you said, we need to remove ourselves from the distractions that the system of the world has created in order to allow YaHuWaH to open our eyes, open our ears and our understanding to the reality and the truth of each one of the things that he has created, even our own identity and our own assignment.
It was just a little comment in the verse 2. It says, along the length which was 100 cubits was the north door. The width was 50 cubits. So imagine that it's almost the half of the length is the size of the door. So I was remembering about when Yahushua was saying, always look for the narrow gate. So somehow every time that we have a big gate is because a lot of people maybe is going to use it at that moment. But when we are going to go into the more set apart place, the gate or the door is going to be really narrow, because the purpose is only that it's going to be one-on-one place to be with YaHuWaH. And I was remembering about when Yahushua was always going to pray, he has his moments alone. And those moments he was just going to the mountain, going to a place that was set apart for him. And he was looking for that presence, because sometimes we need that quiet in our spirit. So every time that maybe we're going to feel that, okay, I'm feeling so alone, we're not alone. I think that is YaHuWaH helping us to have those moments of peace, so we can dedicate those moments to be with him, into his presence. So sometimes I have heard from people maybe that they're missing all these gatherings and being surrounded with a lot of people. And sometimes I have had that feeling too, because now life is kind of different. We are feeling more isolated. But we have to think about that is the moment for YaHuWaH, because he's inviting us to be with him and dedicate our thoughts, our hearts, everything to him. So,
Amen.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind the measurements and the size of this square. It's a square shape platform that is being dedicated as to separate, this is the set apart place that is going to be separated from the common, as he said, the end of this chapter. You need to keep it in mind, because as we move forward, especially I think it's in the chapter 44 or 45, or 46, I don't remember now, but it's on those chapters when he's talking about the division of the land. There's a special place that is being dedicated for the temple and for the set apart place. And if I do remember well, and do remember properly, I think he's talking about exactly the same measures. So keep in mind, it's 500 rolls. It's basically 3,000 cubits that is dedicated for the set apart place. You know, one additional the example or measurement that we were doing earlier today when we read the chapter. We went into this application. You know, it's a kind of field measurement application. You can measure distance and also areas. And we went to the Jerusalem, you know, in the map, and we were measuring these 3,000 cubits in the actual Jerusalem. And we were taking a look, you know, in what is known as the Temple Mount, to define, you know, what's this the set apart place being described here in this chapter. And I can tell you that what is known as the old city of Jerusalem is not even half the size of what is written here as the set apart place separated from the common. And as we will see in the next chapter, we are talking that the temple and the set apart place of YaHuWaH, and this is being written in many places in the scripture, especially in the word of the prophets, that is going to be at the top of the mountain. You know, just remember what is written in the book of Micah, if I remember properly, and in the book of Yeshayahu, when it says, you know, come and let's go up to the mountain, to the Elohim of Yaakov, because he is going to be the one guiding us in his word, because the word of Elohim and his commandments are coming from that place. So it's going to be at the top of the mountain. What it means is that the set apart place somehow needs to have a platform at the top of the mountain that at least is going to measure the measurement that we see over here. So if we take a look, you know, with this simple exercise we did over the map of what is currently the geography of the city of Jerusalem, there is no doubt, as we have seen in the book of Yeshayahu, as we have been reading in the book of Revelation, is that a complete change in the geography of Jerusalem, and not only Jerusalem, I think the entire earth needs to happen. You know, these huge earthquakes that we have been reading about, those huge earthquakes, and it's not going to be only one, are going to be several of them, are going to change completely the geography of this earth. And especially is going to change the geography of Jerusalem. So, you know, a big mountain is going to appear in that place, and not only a big mountain, it's going to be such a high mountain, but also with this amazing platform at the top that is going to allow somehow this amazing temple that is being described in these few chapters of Ezekiel to be established on the top of the mountain. Just put that image in your mind, how amazing all of this is going to be with this, you know, huge temple at the top of the mountain. I just picture in my mind going to Jerusalem and approaching the city and seeing this big mountain with this huge building and huge walls on the top, shining even brighter than the sun, because the presence of YaHuWaH is going to be dwelling over there, and it's going to be Yahushua himself, you know, sitting on the throne, the light of the world, that is shiny than the sun. Can you imagine this amazing picture of this, you know, most probably white stones with gold all over the place, is shining the entire place, considering the height of the mountain. I think it's going to be something that no eyes has seen. Even, you know, man has been able to build such huge buildings, such beautiful constructions. Nothing will compare to what is going to be established at the top of the mountain, because it's just a matter to see even creation, how YaHuWaH, everything that YaHuWaH has created is incomparable to what we as man we have been able to create. You know, sometimes when we go for walk, and those are the times that the ruach is somehow touching the heart and allowing us to think even more internally. I tend to compare. I remember one walk, and you were not here, you were with your parents in that time. I wasn't meditating, while walking. And it was a beautiful one because,
Because I was not here.
No, because of that. No. And we have seen, when you are alone,
it's
sometimes
different. It's different.
you are being pushed to meditate.
And to pray, yeah.
And when we are walking, we are talking. And in that moment, it was beautiful. In one of it was the street when I always the corner where I always complaining because of what they built, this pole with that is totally crooked. Because I was meditating so much, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I was feeling, he talking to me, and I went there. It was the evening; the sun was already set. And this wind came, was a cool wind. And, for me, it was the Ruach touching me and speaking to me. And, I was looking into the trees in a totally different way, and seeing the wind, making the trees, making this noise, and somehow singing, and not only singing, moving, dancing as well. And when I saw that, and this, in the past, it used to happen to me more often. I was looking into the trees, and behind the trees were the buildings. And you can see the difference between the trees singing, dancing, alive, and the buildings, even though there is buildings are being built with material of this earth, but when you are in that level of connection, spiritual connection with YaHuWaH, you can see that they are missing something. It's like they don't have life.
It's like a tomb. Somehow.
They are not alive. They are dead constructions. And you compare this to a bird. If you compare this to a tree, you see life in there. So what I wanted to say, the point that I wanted to make is that what YaHuWaH create has life in itself, is the life of YaHuWaH flowing through things. What humankind has created is missing that life. Even though that is using the material of the creation of YaHuWaH, it doesn't have that life flowing through them. And that's an amazing comparison when we see, what human has created versus what YaHuWaH has created. We see the life of YaHuWaH flowing through his creation. And that's why, even in the temple that we are studying about, in the description we see from Ezekiel, those are buildings, those are the rocks that are going to be put together in a shape. But just keep in mind that even the building is going to be there, static building, being built most probably by humankind. He is going to dwell in that place, bringing his life flowing through that building. So in the comparison that I was doing with the trees, it's not going to be like the buildings I was seeing back then. Because, the building, and this is beautiful, it's like, some people believe what's happening with the tabernacle in the wilderness. Is that, there's some traditions of people saying that, the tabernacle was breathing, expanding, inhaling and exhaling, and expanding and contracting, like the breath of YaHuWaH dwelling in that place. And, I think in this case is going to be something so similar. But not only that, it's going to be the light of YaHuWaH that is going to be visible to everyone from a long distance, that this building is alive because his life is there.
Yeah, we are going to see that difference.
Okay? And that's why, if we compare everything I have said so far, with this temple, even though that he has set a spirit in us, our own spirit. That's the only reason we are alive, because that spirit belongs to him, you know. As soon as we allow the Ruach HaKodesh to dwell within us, it's not going to be our own life, the one flowing through this temple. If we allow the Ruach HaKodesh to dwell in this temple, his own presence dwelling in this temple, what's going to happen is not going to be our life flowing through us anymore. It's going to be his life flowing through our bodies, through our temple. You know, this is what Shaul was speaking about, is that I don't live myself anymore. It's Yahushua living in me. So when Yahushua is saying that we need to deny ourselves, it's exactly that, you know. Even though that is the temple, even though that I have an identity, even though that I'm a children, I'm a child of Elohim, I'm also, you know, I have different roles. I'm also an instrument. And an instrument, you know, is becoming alive when it's producing sound. And who is producing sound? The musician. So it's like the musician expressing himself through the instrument. It's like the life of the musician and the experience of the musician being poured down through the instrument. So even though that we have a life, if we deny ourselves, we are going to allow, like a channel, to allow his life and his presence to flow through us. So we are going to be able to say, as Shaul was saying, that we are not living ourselves anymore. It's he himself living through us. And I think that should be the purpose and the target and the destiny of each one of us. Each one of us is to allow him to live through us, to become the temple. Let's move on.
Okay. And he led me to the gate facing east. And see, the steam of the Elohim of Israel came from the way of the east. And his voice was like the sound of many waters, and the earth shone from his steam. And it was like the appearance of the vision which I saw, like the vision which I saw when he came to destroy the city. And the visions were like the vision which I saw by the river Kebar. And I fell on my face. And the steam of YaHuWaH came into the house by the way of the gate facing east.
Okay. So the sun is shining from the east. And that's why, you know, the temple is facing the east, receiving all the light that is coming from the sun. And he's the Son of righteousness.
And somehow it says at one moment that one day we are not going to have the sun anymore, because it's going to be his glory that is going to be over the place, and he's going to shine. So it's beautiful, because it's like, okay, every day we are waiting for that light. Every day we're expecting the sun to shine again. And one day it's going to be forever. And it's in the same direction. So that is not going to confuse us somehow.
You know, when I didn't tell you this, but when we wrote this phrase, and his voice was like the sound of many waters, and the air shone from his steam. You know, to us, we have been studying a lot about lately about voice, sound, and breath, and so on. And it's beautiful, you know, if we connect to everything we have been listening so far. You know, the voice, like the sound of many waters.
It's like a profound voice.
It's
that
a
is
profound
coming
voice
from the belly somehow.
With the strength. With the strength. Many waters, you know, waters is like rivers running, is producing sound. And then just imagine the waves in the sea, you know, coming with this strength and producing this huge sound. So it's the connection with the breath, and the breath of Elohim, the spirit of YaHuWaH. So he's having a strong voice, you know, he's breathing properly. and the connection with the his light, I think, somehow indirectly is connected to the flowing of the ruach, producing the sound, and also as soon as producing the sound, is you are allowing the light of his ruach to shine around you. And I think there are more things here that is speaking, speaking to us on how we can be a more flexible, flexible instrument in his hands, in order to allow the ruach to flow through us, through the breath of life, the ruach of Elohim. When he's saying in the verse 3, we didn't take the time to go into and to check these things, but he's the appearance of the vision. He's seeing the steam of Elohim coming from the east, and he's comparing what he is seeing in this moment to what he saw in two moments. The first one is when Ezekiel saw YaHuWaH coming to destroy the city. And he's comparing with a second experience as the visions he saw by the river Kibar. And the first one is what we saw in the chapter 9 with the punishers. And he called out in my hearing with a loud voice, saying, "Let the punishers of the city draw near, each with his weapon of destruction." But he's describing here this army and this group of people coming to destroy the city. And we see here in the verse 3, "And the steam of the Elohim of Israel went up from the Kerub, where it had been, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, who had the writer's inkhorn at his side." So
it's something that he can visually.
Yes, it's connecting, I think, with what he saw with the cherubim and the Ophanim.
Yeah.
Because the second one, he's saying the visions on the river Kibar. And what he's talking about, this is in the chapter 1. "As I was among the exiles by the river Kibar," what he said is the following: "The hand of YaHuWaH came upon me here, and I looked and saw a whirlwind coming out of the north, a great cloud with fire flashing itself, and brightness was all around it. And out of its midst, like a glowing metal, out of the midst of the fire, and out of the midst of it came what looked like 4 living creatures." And when we studied this chapter, we were talking about the Merkabah, is the chariots of Elohim, with these 4 living creatures, the cherubim, and the throne of Elohim at the middle, and also the wheels, the Ophanim, that they were moving in the direction that YaHuWaH was guiding them. So I find it really interesting that he is comparing what he's seeing here with those two visions. And I think what he's looking when he's referring to the kavod, the steam of YaHuWaH coming from the east, is in reference to the Merkabah of YaHuWaH with the 4 living creatures. And this is so beautiful, because if we connect this with what is written in the book of Revelation, chapter 19, because we know that Yahushua will come on the clouds. It is written, in the book of Zechariah, that his foot will go into the top of the Mount of Olives in a confirmation to what the messengers told the disciples when Yahushua was taken up into the heaven, that in the same place and in the same way that they saw him going up, in the same way we are going to see him coming down. So Yahushua will come in the Merkabah of YaHuWaH. And if he's going to the Mount of Olives, this is exactly at the east of the east gate, is at the east of the temple. So most probably, the whole reference of what he's talking about is basically Yahushua coming back to the temple, to the door. So it says in the verse 5, "And the Spirit took me up and brought me into the inner courtyard. And see, the steam of YaHuWaH filled the house. And I heard someone speaking to me from the house, while a man stood beside me. And he said to me, Son of man, this is the place of my throne, and the place of the soles of my feet, when I dwell in the midst of the children of Israel forever. And the house of Israel shall no longer defile my set apart name, they nor their sovereigns, by their whoring and by the corpses of their sovereigns on their high places. What do you think he's talking about?
That is, I think that is the moment that all sin is going to disappear from earth. So, and everything that was impacting or was polluting his set apart place is going to be removed. So, I think that it needs to be in a period of time that is going to be when everything is clean again. So that's why I think that I agree with you in the idea of this being on the time of the millennial kingdom, when Yahushua is already here, not before.
Could it be that Ezekiel saw the second coming of Yahushua?
I believe that maybe he did. Yeah.
Seeing all this vision coming from the east, maybe it was, he was seeing Yahushua coming. Yeah, what for me was interesting is about the corpses of their sovereigns on their high places. Could it be related to, the graveyards? Could it be that I don't remember that I haven't read this, and they always say, his when a king was dying, that they were burying the king with their fathers.
Yeah.
But I think nobody knows where that place was in the city. Could it be that in one moment they took the custom to bury or put the corpses of the kings close to the temple?
Could be, because they said that even now, even today, they say that the most expensive places, if you want to bury someone of your family, is going to be there, because they believe that is the place where it's going to be, and they're going to be closer to the Mashiach.
In our days, there is a Muslim cemetery close to what everybody is calling the Golden Gate.
Yeah.
That they believe is the east gate to the temple, the Temple Mount. I personally don't believe that was the place of the temple. I think it was much closer to the city of David, to the north, to the south, sorry. But anyways, the similarities of corpses being close to that place, just caught in my attention that maybe in one moment, in all this going astray from the ways of YaHuWaH, the kings of Yehuda, or the people dwelling in Jerusalem, took this as a custom to put as a kind of a cemetery to put the bodies of the kings close to the temple.
And as you can read, I think that is Stephen, who just wrote, many old churches are built on catacombs, and also churches, they used to have graveyards next to their buildings. So, and it was selected for the people of the town, and usually if you were not worthy, you cannot be buried there. So somehow there were places for privileged people. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, it's specifically talking about on their high places, and we know, and this is written all over the place in the scripture, how they were building these high places, that they were the altars or slaughter place to commit idolatry, to have worship, idolatrous worship. So maybe they were building all these high places, and they put as a kind of a grave in those places. And this is something that obviously, as it is written here, is not seen with good eyes by YaHuWaH. So it's not only whoring, also the practice that is being written here. So when they place their threshold by my threshold, and their doorpost by my doorpost, with a wall between them and me. They defile my set apart name by the abominations which they have done. So I consume them in my displeasure. So when I see this, for me, it's like
two ways. They are not in the way of YaHuWaH, it's like next to him, but with a division.
Yes, but I was thinking something differently. It's like, let's imagine this square of the 3,000 cubits that he's saying, this is my set apart place. It's like, somebody else coming and moving, the borderline. I'm going to establish, I'm going to put just beside this one. It's like going, just put the image in yourself when we go to the old city of Jerusalem and we see the Western Wall, and we see all these constructions of houses beside the wall. This is what it come to my heart, They place their threshold by my threshold. It's like
Like, I don't know, when you have a field and you have the division, and then you have a neighbor that he put his house next to yours.
That was exactly what I wanted to tell you. And what was your feeling?
It was like an interruption. He was very...
He's invading my space.
Yeah,
He has all this space while he's building his house just, 1 meter
in my limit.
in the limit.
Yeah.
Why not to use all this...
Or in the center of his field,
Correct.
but not next to mine.
Yes. I think it is exactly what he's saying. They are not respecting my, they're invading my
And especially
space.
when that person or that family is having completely different yours about a cleaning method and things like that. Because everything, how they are living, they're polluting your place.
Yes. And the door and the wall between them and me is similar to what you said. Just imagine, and this is exactly what in most places, and we have seen this, are building houses to people. You have one house here and the other here. And can you imagine that the door is here and the other door is in front?
So,
what kind of privacy you have?
Yeah, none at all.
Not at all.
And all the noise and everything. So at the end, you are not in your place living quiet. Or how you desire to live.
So, if the interpretation we're talking about is the right interpretation, I do believe it is. It's speaking a lot about the heart of YaHuWaH. And if YaHuWaH thinks in this way, we should imitate him. He's an Elohim that he likes, we saw already symmetry and balance. It's an Elohim that he favors privacy and he favored space. And actually, if we expand this to the promises to his people, he's promising that everyone will dwell under his fig tree and vine tree and will have their own space. He doesn't want, what's happening in the cities today. Everyone, is like a place so crowded that nobody is having their space, their privacy. It's a chaos. He likes everything in order, in harmony. That's why, every time that we go to the countryside, we feel this peace. We feel this, this connection. We don't feel this, this pressure and this rush that we have and we feel in the cities. Because, in the cities, in the way that we know the cities is basically we see this lack of privacy and this invasion of the privacy between the people because, everyone is so crowded. He likes the spaces. He likes, have the privacy and let's think beyond that, why he likes that. Because in those moments of silence and privacy is when you can meditate, is when you can connect to the surroundings. It's like when you are walking and you can connect with your environment and you are not being pushed, as Camille says, the shalom of being connected with him.
I was thinking about something else in the same verse, that maybe somehow this is his place, is his throne, is his house, but some people were living their own life in that place. So they were using his place to their own purposes.
Yes.
So, like, I don't know, it's like someone is coming here And he decided, okay, I'm going to live in your place.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to establish everything, and what I'm going to do is going to be according to what I think is okay, and I'm not going to respect your rules. And yeah, we call it ocupa in Spanish. So maybe it's also something like that. Somebody who is taking the ownership and the place of somebody else.
They defile my set apart name by their
Yeah.
abominations, which they have done, so I consume them in my displeasure. So let me extrapolate before we continue with everything we have said about what's the heart of YaHuWaH, about this shalom, the privacy, the spaces, and so on, to avoid this feeling of crowded and polluted places to this temple. You know, if we try to compare everything we have said to this temple, what could be something that is placing a threshold by his threshold in this temple, setting a doorpost by his doorpost, setting a wall between them and him in this temple? What's something that could make this temple crowded, polluted, without shalom and so on? What's coming to your mind?
To my mind is coming with the transplant and things like that, surgeries, maybe some kind of, okay, if I have something that was created by him, I'm putting something on that place to replace it, but created by man. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be an option, yes. And if you think more spiritually.
And more spiritual, anything that is not coming from him. So maybe even some false teachings, everything that was traditions and idolatry, because it was everything related to something else, something that it was not him.
You know, a city, we were comparing, the countryside with the city. The countryside, you have these big spaces, no buildings, just a shalom, nature, harmony. And in the city, you have a lot of houses, buildings, more people per square meter or square mile. It's so crowded. If we think spiritually speaking, what could be the representation of the people or those, those crowded places?
The cells, tumors, diseases.
Spiritual.
Spiritual.
Thoughts.
Thoughts, yeah.
The thoughts of the people and the visions of the people, everything we allow to go in here and go in here is basically living spiritually in us. Every time that we allow those thoughts that are not only coming from us, it's coming from others that are being, making nest in our minds, and they're still over there. What's happening with this place is becoming crowded without space. It's like, having little minions, and we allowing those minions to go in and staying there, and basically it's like opening the door for that place that it should be with plenty of space to be completely crowded.
Yeah, and it's funny because usually those negative thoughts are bringing more negative thoughts, and it's like, as you said, crowded. But when we are filled with the Ruach of YaHuWaH, when we are with His Spirit, usually we have a shalom, that we have everything that is so perfect that nothing can bother that moment. It's not the same, it's quite the opposite. So it's like that. You can feel it. You can feel it like physically.
Yeah. It's like, it's like a web. We can have many people around us. And thinking, Yahushua chose 12 disciples. And even though that he had more people following him, he was surrounded only by 12. Sometimes, we allow ourselves to be surrounded for too many people. And unfortunately, this is the way that this system has been created. And sometimes we need to allow more people in our space. With technology today, especially with instant messaging tools like, SMS, WhatsApp, or any other type of the social networks, It's like all the time people nagging in us and interrupting us. It's like, virtually we have expanded our the physical space. So it's not only the people that is physically with us, it's a lot of people that is not physical, it's like spiritually with us.
Yeah.
That is all the time, all the time, all the time. And the point is that even though that they're not here present, we are opening the spiritual door for them to be present within us. It's like opening the door or establishing a doorpost. And the space that needs to be full of shalom and fully dedicated to Him, we are allowing other things to get in. And what that happened is basically we become, instead of becoming 3,000 cubits space for the set apart place of YaHuWaH, with plenty space, all in harmony, we opening the door for that place that is so huge to be crowded with so many people. That is going to be so much, it's going to be so noisy, and without shalom and without harmony.
It's like when you compare a street, when you have the right amount of cars, or I don't know, people walking in that direction or driving, but if you have a traffic jam or something like that, it's so disruptive. So that comparison.
So, and he said, this part of the abominations, they defile my set apart name by the abominations which they have done. And he's saying this after this one. So I think, if we really believe that this body is a temple of the Ruach of Elohim, is a temple of YaHuWaH, His presence, those things are totally applicable to us. And that's why, I'm doing this analysis and constantly being testing this thing, in the way that we are living. We are opening so many doors that sometimes all those thoughts are invading you, and believe me, I'm suffering a lot of that. So this is speaking to me. But we need to do this analysis all the time in order to remove everything that doesn't belong to that place. Because if we are a temple of the Ruach of Elohim, we need to make sure that that temple is set apart to YaHuWaH. And we need to start removing everything we have allowed to get in. It's like, no, I'm not going to use that example. It's like, going to persecute something and to trap those things that are inside and remove them. And remove them. I'm going to use the example anyway. It's something that illegally got in without any permission. And because, we were so distracted and we just opened the borders. And you know what I'm talking about? Is something that is being impacted in so many countries, in our country as well. Yeah, this is policy of open borders. And instead of people, with the correct procedure, being allowed to get in,
they disrupt.
They just, because of open border policies, just we allowed anybody to get in. And what happened? Chaos. Destruction, lack of harmony. So what needs to be done? We need to go into those that entered without the permission, and we need to remove them. So it's exactly the same thing, especially in this temple. We have not been good doorkeepers, and we need to repent and we need to ask for forgiveness. But it's not only that. We need to learn. We're talking about the skills and capacities. That is not us. We need to ask Him to teach us and give us those skills and capacity. Okay, YaHuWaH, I made a mistake. Help me out. Give me the capacity in order to be a good doorkeeper. A doorkeeper is the one, a gatekeeper. The one that is going to be the guard, deciding and defining what is going to come in and what is not. And the only thing that can come in is something that is set apart. something that is not set apart cannot go in. And it's something that, was allowed to go in. We see the parallel in how YaHuWaH created our bodies. We have the white cells, right? With a parasite or something, a virus, a bacteria that doesn't belong to our system, the system that YaHuWaH has created in us. What happened? The police that he has created.
And a fight.
The white cells, are coming, because, and it's so interesting that they're being called the white cells. It's like the children of light. The children of light coming in this spiritual battle within us, thinking, in the physical, the same, the spiritual, the same in the physical, both of them are connected. And that's why, in the way that he created us in our bodies, it's a way to understand how to work in the spiritual as well. So the white cells, the children of light, are coming, and as you said, they're coming to fight. They are warriors.
Fire is going to be there.
Yes, they're going to fight, and they're going to, even in that fight, they're going to die. Because, they're fighting against something that doesn't belong to the body. And even if it's necessary, and most of the time it's necessary, they are dying in order to kill that doesn't belong to the body, in order to remove it, in order to bring health, in order to bring restoration. In the spiritual, it's exactly the same. If we have allowed something that doesn't belong to this set-apart place, what we need to allow is that, the spiritual white cells to come in. And what could be the white cells? Is the spirit of Elohim. He needs to give us the weapons, the inner weapons, the spiritual weapons, in order to fight back. And sometimes we need to die. That's why YaHuWaH said that if you need to cut your hand in order to get into the kingdom of Elohim, cut it off. He's speaking about spiritual, some habits that we have acquired over the time, that somehow, is a back door that is allowing things that should not go into the temple to come in. We need to close it. We need to cut it off. In order to close that back door, in order to keep, the sanctity, the set-apartness of that place.
And we can see that also in the practical things, like, having food that was created by him. And if we made a comparison, the artificial food that is so spread around the world, and how that artificial food is causing a lot of diseases and sickness. And also we can see the correlation between the spiritual and the physical. If we allow the bad feelings or the anger or anything like that from the side of the enemy that is going to be entering into us, we can cause a disease, because at the end our body is going to be resent, is going to be weak, and we are going to have that battle inside, and it's going to be reflected in our bodies. So we have to ask for the support and the help of YaHuWaH, and he's going to give us a double of strength, and we can overcome with his help. But we have to, like you said, previous Shabbat, we have even to be sure that YaHuWaH is overpowered. He has the power over everything, and that YaHuWaH was also giving us that authority, so we can give the command, and knowing that any disease, any issue is going to be expelled and is going to be out under his name, because everything is going to obey to him at the end.
And actually, the verse 9 somehow is reinforcing everything we have been saying so far, because it says, now let them put their whoring and their corpses of their sovereigns far away from me.
Yeah.
And I shall dwell in their midst forever. So this is what's going to happen in the millennial kingdom, in the physical, when everything, the whole geography of the earth is going to change, even Jerusalem, and he's going to establish his temple in that place, in that amazing mountain. The same is with us. And this is something we can do now. We should not wait for the millennial, you know. This is why he's given each one of us the opportunity in order to understand and to realize more than understand, realize based on the truth of his word that this body is his temple and he wants to dwell here. And he doesn't want to dwell only for a minute. He wants to dwell forever. But in order for him to dwell forever, this needs to be cleansed. This body, this temple, needs to be set apart. We need to remove all the abominations. We need to remove, you know, the whoring and the corpses. Anything and everything that doesn't belong there, physical and spiritual things. And you know, the physical sometimes is much easier. You know what we are talking about, the physical. Things that are happening outside. And even things that we eat. And I think most of us, we already decided because we have learned and we have made a decision to eat according to what he is teaching us, what we can eat. So somehow we already began a long time ago in this process to cleanse this body from what we eat. But you know, sometimes we have some practices that we are doing, actions we are doing, physical things that are based in habits that we need to remove from our behaviors. Those are the whorings or the corpses that we need to remove. The most difficult one, and we cannot detach both because everything is connected, the spiritual and the physical. But there are some things that are not happening outside. There are things that are happening inside. The spiritual things, the emotions, the thoughts that sometimes we entertain ourselves here. We feel it. Sometimes we feel it here. Other times we feel it in another part of the body, but we don't see it, but we know that they are there. And those sometimes are the more difficult things to remove. And the only way is by the Ruach of Elohim. But the first thing we need to do is to realize that those things are there. And we need to ask his strength in order to remove them. And as it is written by Keeps Digging 7, it is a daily process. But the point is that we need to do it. Okay? Son of man, explain the house to the house of Israel, and when they are ashamed of their crookedness, they shall measure the measurements. And since they shall be ashamed of all that they did, make known to them the design of the house and its structure, and its exits and its entrances, its entire design and all its laws, and all its forms and all its Torot, and write it down before their eyes, so that they observe its entire design and all its laws, and shall do them. This is the Torah of the house. Upon the mountaintop, all the boundary of it, all around, is most set apart. See, this is the Torah of the house. This is what we were saying, you know, as the top of the mountain is the space of the 500 rods that we were talking in the previous chapter. And you know, Ezekiel had such an amazing blessing that he received this vision. And actually, you know, the second temple wasn't built with this measurement. Everybody, all the scholars believe that this temple being described here has never been built. You know, because the builder and the captain in charge of the construction of this one has not come yet. He's coming, you know, the second time. The first time he didn't come in order to build the temple. He's coming, and he's going to be in charge of this amazing construction. But Ezekiel had this amazing blessing to receive the revelation of the temple. Can you imagine, you know, what an amazing blessing to receive, you know, the measurements, and to see with his own eyes in vision what the temple will look like. You know, I just imagine what Ezekiel is going to feel in his heart when he's going to be resurrected. And when he's going to see, not only he's going to remember, what he saw in his vision, but now he's going to be able to see with his physical eyes the manifestation of that revelation. And he's going to be able to go into that place. Can you imagine the joy in his heart when he's going to be able to see with his physical eye what he saw, thousands of years ago by the revelation of the visions of Elohim? I could be amazed and crying like a baby because of the blessing of YaHuWaH. I believe that is going to happen to him as well. So we are here. And these are the measurements of the slaughter place in cubits, that cubit being 1 cubit and a handbreadth, and the base 1 cubit height and 1 cubit wide, with a rim all around its edge of 1 span. And this is the upper part of the slaughter place. And from the base on the ground to the lower ledge, 2 cubits, and the width of the ledge 1 cubit, and from the smaller ledge to the larger ledge 4 cubits, and the width of the ledge 1 cubit. And the slaughter place hearth is 4 cubits high, and 4 horns standing upward from the hearth. And the slaughter place hearth is 12 cubits long and 12 wide, a square at its 4 corners. And the ledge is 14 long and 14 wide on its 4 sides, with a rim of half a cubit around it, and its base 1 cubit all around, and its steps face east. And he said to me, Son of man, thus said the Master YaHuWaH, these are the laws for the slaughter place on the day when it is made, for offering ascending offerings on it, and for sprinkling blood on it. So before we continue, we took a lot of time with Lillian to try to figure out the description of the altar, the slaughter place. And to be honest, it's not an easy task. And we came to a conclusion, and that is quite interesting. But before telling you what was the shape of the slaughter place that we were seeing, one thing to share with you, the word that was translated as a slaughter place in these passages here, just let me confirm. Yes. So the Hebrew word that was translated a slaughter place here and here, and I do believe no, it's only here and here, is very interesting because it's using interchangeably the word Harel and the word Ariel. So the entire description of the slaughter place, that is Mizbeach, is the entire construction, is the Mizbeach, but what is at the top is basically this one, that is at the top of the Mizbeach. What is being translated here as slaughter place is, in the Hebrew word is Harel, and sometimes in this one is being from the Hebrew word Ariel. Harel, it means the mountain of Elohim, and Ariel is the lion of Elohim. So I think it's really important in the description of the Mizbeach that what is at the top is Harel, the mountain of Elohim. And imagine this is in the top of the mountain, and in the top of the mountain there is a structure that is also a kind of a small mountain, to say so, and at the top is saying the mountain of Elohim, Harel, and with these horns in the 4 corners, that is also being called Ariel, the lion of Elohim. I think this is an important representation. Now, when we were calculating, even with the measuring tape, we're trying to calculate the space. It's a huge, just the top, the Harel, the slaughter place, what is at the top, is a huge space. It's a huge space. And trying to figure out, the description, our conclusion is that the shape of the altar is not like the shape of what we have been seeing in the pictures or the artwork of what was in the temple of Shlomo. The shape of the altar is like a ziggurat. I mean, you don't know what is a ziggurat. It's like a pyramid. Those ones that were built in the Middle East. It's like a star-shaped pyramid. It's just a matter to look into the description, and you will see that this is the shape. It's like a mountain with a star on the east, and the Harel is like this square space at the top. And it's not written there, but I was telling Lillian that what I felt in my heart looking into some images and also understanding the description of the shape of the altar is like thank you, Karen. Yes, it's a step pyramid. It's like the top was a kind, maybe it had a gate, this harel, this slaughter place, and all the offerings were done inside and maybe without a roof. So when they were doing this,
It's like a chimney somehow.
ascending offerings, yes, ascending offerings, it was inside, that room with just a gate, with walls all around, and without a roof. So the offering was inside, and all the smoke was going out into the heaven. And most probably, we were reading in some places in the especially in the book of Chronicles, when Shlomo was offering, and it was the dedication of the first temple, how this column of fire was descending from the heaven and consuming the offering. So most probably that was happening. The column of smoke or the cloud was going there, and also with the fire of YaHuWaH going down. So I think it's a beautiful representation, and for sure it's opening some questions. What's the connection maybe with the custom of the Middle East? We see the Babylonian or the Sumerian shapes of the structures and the buildings they were building, and that should not be a surprise, even though that maybe we don't have the answer. We need to remember that the origin of all those nations was one origin. Everybody descended from Noah. And the point is that they were deviating themselves and going astray from the true way of YaHuWaH. So again, the enemy changing and bringing these deceptions and lies, as we discussed at the beginning about the Colosseum and the stadiums, when we're talking about this, the shape of the set-apart place, the same thing happening with the altar. So it's just thing to keep in mind. When we were discussing with Lillian here in South America, in Mexico, and also in Peru and Guatemala, we see what happened with the Mayas. They also have pyramids in the same way. The Incas in Peru, they were also having the same thing. And I remember in the past I was reading some documents and some information. There are few people that believe that those cultures came from the northern tribes of Israel. That maybe they were being dispersed and brought to the Americas.
Even they themselves.
Yes, and when we look into the customs of those people, the Mayas, the Aztecas, the Incas, they used to do, idolatrous sacrifices at the top of the pyramids. So can you see somehow darkness imitating in the wrong way what YaHuWaH has established for his worship? So it's like, evil image of what is the set-apart image of YaHuWaH. So those things we need to keep in mind sometimes when we are evaluating and understanding and studying these type of things. So let me continue. It says in the verse 19, and you shall give a young bull for a sin offering to the priests, the Levites, who are of the seed of Zadok, who approach unto me, declares the Master YaHuWaH. And you shall take some of his blood and put it on the four corners of the slaughter place, on the four corners of the ledge, and on the rim around it, and shall cleanse it and make atonement for it. And you shall take a bull of the sin offering, and shall burn it in the appointed place of the house, outside the set-apart place. And on the second day you bring a male goat, a perfect one for a sin offering, and they shall cleanse the slaughter place as they cleanse it with the bull. When you have ended cleansing it, bring a young bull, a perfect one, and a ram from the flock, a perfect one, and you shall bring them before YaHuWaH, and the priest shall throw salt on them and offer them up as an ascending offering to YaHuWaH. Prepare a goat for a sin offering daily for 7 days, and prepare a young bull and a ram from the flock, perfect ones. For 7 days they shall make atonement for the slaughter place and cleanse it, and ordain it. And when these days are completed, it shall be on the 8th day and thereafter that the priests make your ascending offerings and your peace offerings on the slaughter place, and I shall accept you, declares the Master YaHuWaH. So we see the description that is being mentioned here, very similar to the instruction that was given to Moshe in the wilderness about how to proceed with the cleansing of the priests and the cleansing of the set-apart place. You know, we see the bull, the goat, similar to what Aaron needed to bring in order to cleanse the priests and to cleanse the people during Yom HaKippurim. So we see, you know, the instructions exactly as YaHuWaH was telling Ezekiel, you know, and giving you, and write this down because these are the instructions, the Hukim, the Torah, for the service of the temple. And the first thing he's saying, connecting to everything we have said a few minutes ago, is cleansing the set-apart place. If YaHuWaH is going to use what he has built for his service, the first thing to do is to cleanse it, to dedicate it to him, and from that day on is going to serve with the assignment he has established for that purpose, the purpose of the priest and the purpose of the temple. So we need to go through that cleansing process. We need to clean ourselves. It's a daily process. But if we are going to be used as a dedicated vessel to YaHuWaH, we need to make sure that we are ordaining, we are dedicating, we are putting all this place in the proper order and the proper harmony in order to serve the right purpose that was in the desire of the heart of YaHuWaH to serve him. You know, we can make a lot of extrapolation and comparison, even in the way that the cells are working in this body that could be connected to the priest. And you know, this temple is working in different layers, physical and spiritual layers. And in each one of the layers, we need to go through the process of cleansing in order for, you know, what could be connected to the priest, the only ones that are being allowed to get in to specific places to do their job in the way that YaHuWaH has created. I think I haven't mentioned this in the past, but all these things with the progress of technology, there are two types of technologies being put together for decades, and it's like two parallel routes or tracks that are being developed over the years when we talk about technology. One track of technology is outside the body, you know, where we talk about computers, cell phones, anything and everything we see with our eyes, transportation, industries, you name it. So one track is the progress of technology that is outside the body. The second track is technologies that is for the inside of the body. Just few examples. Prostheses, what you said before. Also vaccines. We have all this push in the last few years about
You can add food.
the type of food we're putting in our mouth. This technology that is looking to change our DNA or the genome. And there are the other type of technology in medicine that about the nanobots that can go through our bloodstream and many things. And so in the same way that we have this body that was created by YaHuWaH with cells and certain things that those are the ones allowed to get into the cell, to the DNA, or to many other places. Sometimes these technologies, the only thing that are doing is just to, it's like wolves dressed like sheep to try to get into the places that they are not allowed to get in. So when I'm saying that, this temple is being built in different layers, I'm talking about exactly that. In the physical layer, yes, there are things that we can do in order to change our behaviors, what we eat, what we don't eat, things we do, things we don't do, because we are keeping this temple set apart. But also keeping an eye on the technologies that are being pushed in order to contaminate the body, things that are being pushed in order to get in to those places that are set apart for the things that YaHuWaH has created. In the temple, in the set apart place, only the priests were allowed to get in. Just put this picture in your mind. This temple, priests, maybe cells, things that YaHuWaH has created, are the only ones that can get in. Anything that is not coming from the creation of YaHuWaH, that somehow is being put in a custom in order to trick the body, to allow the body to open the cells and open the doors of the cells to get in, is something that is evil, is an abomination, is something that YaHuWaH has not created. So those things are the things that are much easier to see. When we talk about the spiritual, it's much more difficult because the spiritual are things that we don't see, are invisible. But that doesn't mean that they don't exist. They are there. So that's why, in the spiritual things is why we need to be more cautious and more attentive. What we are going to allow to get into this temple. It is set apart. It is not set apart. It belongs to YaHuWaH. It doesn't belong to YaHuWaH. It's a priest, but it's not a priest. It's a Levite, but it's not a Levite. So that's why, we need to be so attentive and praying all the time. So YaHuWaH is giving us the discernment on how to keep and guard this temple in order for him, as it is written up there, dwell forever.
We don't have to be afraid of this physical death, because it said those who are fearing of this death and they're looking for saving their own lives, they're going to lose it at the end. But those who are not worried about that, they're going to conquer death. So we have to wait on his revival, on the resurrection that he's going to provide. Not the one that we want to live here forever. No, it is not like that. We want to be prepared for that. So knowing that maybe we're going to feel fear because it's the world who is putting this thought of fear on everybody. But we know that it's a natural process. We know that we have to go through that process. So we have to know that YaHuWaH himself is going to be with us in every part of this process until we are going to conquer death by him. And I wanted, after that, when I was reading about the sacrifices, if we can go to the to Matityahu, or Matthew 23:35, when I was reading about the sacrifices and everything, I don't know why, I was remember about that when Yahushua was talking to the Pharisees, and he was saying, reading from the 34, because of this, see, I send you prophets and wise men and a scholar of the scripture. Some of them you shall kill and impale, and some of them you shall flog in your congregation and persecute from city to city, so that on you should come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the dwelling place and the slaughter place. And why I made this very strange connection, because when he was mentioning that some sacrifices needed to be made day by day in order to cleanse his set-apart place, I was thinking from the first day of the creation, if we took the 1,000 years per 1 day, if we think from the first moment, and Yahushua was mentioning Abel was somehow sacrificed in a way, and then we have some other prophets like we were discussing. I was asking you some like Isaiah. It was Zechariah too. It was Yahushua himself, and we know that he was taken in the middle of the week, so it was between the third millennium and the fourth, and we know that at the end it's going to be even the two witnesses are going to be also killed. And I know that somehow is part, maybe we said and we think, this is so unfair, people who were just, people who were righteous, and they have to give their life for maybe some reason. But it's in the plan of YaHuWaH, it's in the plan of cleansing. And we know that over all of that, that the blood of Yahushua is the one that is being sprinkled and covering all that death. So, and I was feeling blessed somehow that we are, and I'm feeling that we are toward to the end of the 6th millennium somehow, so that we can maybe be prepared for the next one that is approaching. We know that the time is going to be very tough. We know that the fight is going to be very fearful for everyone, but we know that we have our King that is going to fight for us, and he's going to bring the restoration, the renewal, and he's coming on YaHuWaH himself. So that's the picture that we have to put in our minds.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful comparison. And I think, about the two witnesses, is being written that is going to happen in the same city. So I think you found something really interesting, a connection that is important. You know, Yahushua himself was also somehow sacrificed on that place. So yeah, I think we are so close to that moment that is going to happen so soon. It's just a matter to see, you know, to listen time to time, not every day, but time to time to the news. You know, there's so much confusion day after day, so much fight, so much, how to say, you know.
Today's persecution, if you see it, and it's persecution and fights among everybody.
People that used to be together now fighting between them. You know, this whole thing about what's going on in the Middle East. Instead of getting calm or solved, is getting even more complex. And by the day, maybe now we don't see all this fireworks, to put it in some way, as we saw it a few months ago. But that doesn't mean things are being solved, are happening between the lines, and behind doors. They're still, working and pushing, these fights and battle. At the end, as we have been saying so much, this is a spiritual thing that's happening. There is something on the air. It's the spirits of the Nephilim, the evil spirits that are doing all of this. That's why the only way that we are going to be able to stand firm and to continue enduring until the end is if we fight this first, if we first realizing that this is a spiritual fight. That's the first thing we need to do. And second, after realizing this is a spiritual fight, is that we need to be a warrior. We need to fight. We like it or not. In a fight, in a battle, in war, if we don't fight back, if we don't defend ourselves, we die. In this case, it's a spiritual death. What could be, the end result if we don't fight? With the strength of the Spirit of Elohim, is that we can be defeated. Meaning that we are going to be caught slave of the enemy. So the only way in order to defeat the enemies, the only way to defeat the giants is fighting. And that's why we need to realize it's a spiritual fight. All of us, we are fighting day after day, and we need to make sure that we are becoming those spiritual warriors of the people of Elohim, the people of YaHuWaH. Every place we read, they were fighting those battles. They were not just waiting. For sure, there were some people that were staying, but they have an army. And we have been chosen in order to be the army of YaHuWaH. We need to fight the spiritual battle by having the Ruach of Elohim dwelling and flowing through us, by cleansing the temple. So we have the indwelling Ruach of Elohim in our temples in order to fight this battle. If we don't fight, it's not only that we can be caught by the enemy. It's that if we don't fight the spiritual battle, we are not defending the people around us. We are giving ground to the enemy to do whatever they want. That's why, in the end times, and we are living in the end times, is that the children of light, the children of Elohim, needs to stand up, and they need to realize their true identity and fight with the spiritual weapons. And I think we need to talk in any moment, most probably in the coming portions, depending on what the portions are coming and what the Ruach is putting in the hearts, in our lips, to talk about the spiritual weapons, how to fight back, how to use those weapons. Because one thing, and again, we talk about the skills at the beginning, in the spirit is the same thing. Those are skills that YaHuWaH can give us. But we need to, like, any physical skill, we are not going to learn it from one day to the other. Though there is a miracle, and for sure YaHuWaH has done miracles in the past and he can do it now. But there is also, that's the fast track. But the normal track is that in order to learn a skill, we need to train, we need to practice day after day in order to get the skill. So when we go to the work, to the field, when we go to to the battle, we already are experienced with that skill. So those are the things that we need to ask ourselves and ask him, ask the Ruach of Elohim, what are the skills I need in order to become a warrior, a spiritual warrior in this fight? In order to fight this fight, not only to protect and defend me, but also to defend others, and also to not allow the enemy to get ground, in order to move the wall, move the boundaries so they cannot come in, and to protect the areas and the spaces what YaHuWaH has established each one of us. One thing that we need to ask always, What's the reason, and maybe we have talked about this, what's the reason that he allowed his people throughout the years to go into the dispersion, to be in the four corners of the earth? It's just a matter to see what's going on in this world today. You know, it's full of darkness and it's increasing day after day. So, why do you think that we are in different countries, in different geographies, in different locations? We are the embassies. We are the witnesses of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. And in the location, in the place he has established each one of us, in the place where he decided in his wisdom to give us life, to be born in the different places we are, is in order to bring the light and fight the spiritual battle. We have the assignment in the places we have been born to fight the spiritual battle in order to defend this territory and to bring people into the light of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. If we are not standing up, if we are so afraid of fighting the battle, if we are so distracted that we are not learning the skills, the spiritual skills on how to become a warrior, spiritual warrior of the kingdom of YaHuWaH, we are not fulfilling our assignment. And the people and the territory where we are in the dispersion is unprotected. So the sooner we realize all of this, and the sooner we take actions in order to learn the skills and to allow the Ruach of Elohim to give us the wisdom, and as we said at the beginning of this broadcast, to deny ourselves and to let YaHuWaH to live in us and through us, we are not doing what we're supposed to do. We are not serving YaHuWaH in the purpose of his heart and the reason for why he gave us life in these end times, and why he has established each one of us in the place we are. So, things to think about it, to meditate and pray about it. So YaHuWaH can give us the wisdom, and he can awaken us, and to light that fire in our spirits and our hearts in order to become those warriors of Israel, the spiritual warriors of Israel, in order to defend the territory we are and the people around us, and to bring the light of the world into this earth. Good.
Yeah. At least we need to know how to block the attacks of the enemy, and how that with their force they can have it back. So.
Absolutely. So having said that, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope in YaHuWaH that everything we have said and shared today somehow is touching a fiber, something in your heart and in your spirit, and that YaHuWaH can bring more revelation, not to each one of you, to us, that he can guide us everywhere and every day. Because in these times is when we need him the most. And we need to remember that we need him. And actually, we need to remember as well that he wants to use us in order to manifest his power, his truth to this world, using us as his instruments. Having said that, thank you so much for joining us. YaHuWaH be with you all, and we hope to see you next week.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
And YaHuWaH be with you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
כמה שמחה יש בביתך כשכולם שרים ביחד על שהיה, על שיהיה ועל כל שאתה עושה. היו ימים טובים יותר, אך לעולם לא נוותר על השמחה הארוכה שעוד תבוא, כן היא תבוא. כולם ידיים באוויר לפני ישוע חוגגים, נראה טובך שם במרומים, אך גם בארץ החיים נרים קולנו לשמיים ונמלא אותם בשיר, נחגוג יחדיו כמשפחה כשנבוא שוב לביתך. אם לא נשיר ונהלל, האבנים לא ישתקו, כל הבריאה לך קוראת, ברוך הבא מרנתה. בין אם עוד שנה או עוד 100, לך נמתין בציפייה, ושעלה גם עוד ירד, ואז תתחיל החגיגה. כולם ידיים באוויר לפני ישוע חול